all these things like corporate Republicans don't have corporate charter, you know, all these classic legislatures. There's this great one. There's been a boom. There's been a boom in tax cuts that are removed, and it never has happened for the last 5 years. And why are these Republicans passing these tax cuts and then saying they have to go down to 2 years? Well, they have to be reviewed every 2 years. You go back to your partners and say, hey, we're doing a new research and development tax cut, and so we get the shakedown in 2 years. And it's just secretly, it's like, should the leader of the accepted evidence? Oh, I love it. I know, but like, the more like, so it's actually like destroying like the people like Al Franken and I know he's an outsider, he's a guy who he just has to go to prison because you're so likable that you're our best friend. So it's like, no, waste your time. They don't want to like, oh yeah, it's not going to. I know. Let's do this. Okay. Oh my gosh, what's your conversion? And a camera. know, and like the corporations are screwing them over, and now the North is like, oh, the 2 minutes you like it, or you're cool with the family, F those too, like, half NASCAR, half, it's like all that stuff. It's like, but those are all like important things to them. And so you can say, oh, I get those are important things, and now building from those values, I don't know if, like, I think we should raise them in yourself, or like here's an idea of why the Social Security is like a Christian thing to do, or something, it's just and it worked out well. I just wanted to and then I started talking to him, and then I know most conservative flankers, like originally there were people that said out marriage, we're going to do that talk with the world, we're going to break the soul, and I go, so all the people that are really voting for that stuff, like those are the people that want to be conservatives. They want to go live in a family with their suburban house. Like this and that. And it's like, I never thought of it. Yeah, it's like, and he's like, yeah, he started thinking of it that way, and now I just, and it's just like, that's what you go. So it actually really, I've actually done just like, I like it. So there are these studies where if you leave the country, you actually into your country because you're known as that country. Yeah, so like here are these examples where these Italians here, and they get all these Italian cultures, and they get all is only like 1%. It's less than 1%. Everybody passes through like elections because the only people who have elections here have already passed it. So he says that. So he says the goal is to have there be an election, or to have this money election that will represent the election itself is subsidiary to the election in the politics. Yeah. Potentially important. They're thinking about that, and that's in their and he calls that the grand iceberg. Because the iceberg is above it, you only see the like average. But you don't see this huge thing, the 2 years where you're like, oh, maybe I want to go to that. Give everyone a $1 voucher paid for or I guess $6 billion times 15, which is like $300 million. Give everyone $50 a year. It can only, and that's the only way. And so you actually have a money election still, but the money election is the voting election. Currently, like I have this during the election, they never going to help us. Really good job. But on your resume, I can go to Allison Street at the end of my rally. I go, everyone, get out your iPhone and sign over your $50 voucher to me, and I could have just been started. I'm rich. You know, and think about how much more exciting you're going. If you could go to a place, give a speech, and immediately get money, and that guy knows, like, oh my gosh, I have $50 in my and that's how the donor, the rich donors do this already. And like, if everybody, he says it's a constitutional, his dream is no money, but like, he says the Constitution gets in the way of making money, so the only way to do it would be to flood it. You know, everyone's vote. Keep talking. Sorry, I'm just That's great. Oh, awesome. That's good. Yeah.
I'm right behind you short.
Come on, we're
Can
getting in front.
Yeah.
We're in
I'm
front.
a short guy, I'll be right behind you. Or I could be up in the short lane.
Hi.
You're going to be with the short guys.
You know, we did.
Sir, I'm going to have you come stand here.
Okay.
Sir, I'm going to have you stand right here. Right? Everyone has cell phones off or on vibrate.
I don't know.
If you have a
Go
visitor
off.
pass on anywhere on, you can just stick it in your pocket.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
My boy.
Can I have everyone take just like a couple of small steps to the right?
Is that a political thing?
That was great.
I think our group should go further to the left.
Absolutely.
Can we stand on the kind of perfect? Yeah, that's great. Okay, feel good. We'll
I wouldn't go that far.
have bottles of water if you need anything. If you feel that you need to take a rest at any time, standing for a long time can just get a little cumbersome if you're not used to it.
We're gonna lean on each other, man, you know?
There we go.
We all need someone.
We'll also have chairs on either side. So if you feel you need to just take a seat, just step off either side. We'll have chairs. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And how long, when does this thing start?
So they're on the last vote now, so it should be starting in the next probably 5 to 7 minutes, hopefully.
5 to 7.
Hopefully.
All right? You can do some more emails. You got time for it. Speaking order. All right, we can check them off.
He's willing to do
So I'm going to have you go right here. Sir, can I just have you scoot a little bit to the right here? Have you come in and join?
Ladies. Well, we haven't got enough ladies.
Perfect.
What happened to the ladies?
I don't know, but you got
More women at
a couple of them didn't come. Like one speaker.
Silent again.
so he'll do a webinar and then with a couple of business.
Kind of interesting to be standing up here. Usually we're speaking. You don't have to lean, but stand. This is it? Yeah.
something I can handle.
You think you got it?
Better
You don't lean over,
standing,
man, you know?
standing better than speaking.
I was talking to somebody in Maryland, and then
And you know, you got the food group up there. We like the food group. I like this. Are we organized by the food group? Is anybody else being honest on the food group?
where's your ice cream? Your ice cream comes.
My ice cream cone can. Yeah, I think someone should make a thing out right in the center of everything. It's like the kitchen. It's like the kitchen being the center of your house. This is a food group. Look, we got sandwiches, we got coffee, we got a meal.
And then if you need to press, what else would we do? Oh, but he doesn't. He grows things with their friends.
Well, he should be in top.
Well, that's right, he grows them. Seed them.
It wasn't
John, do you have any edibles for your...
No, all right.
I think
Because just don't do that.
So these folks don't know who the heck we are.
They were joking.
so bring it down.
Yeah.
Well, think about which ones to say. And then I also talked.
We actually have a beekeeper on it. 3 or 4 times a year, they'll swarm.
Action?
There is one scene.
the nerve gets pressed.
all those years of slicing corned beef.
Well, that was your specialty, corned beef?
The delicatessen. Is that out corned beef?
Corned?
But you know, it's 20 years since I've sliced it. Before that, I had a fish market, so scale and fillet. Before that, I painted houses. Before that, I just did a lot of drugs.
Yeah, I got a career that I drove a cab, drove a school bus. Lived in the village in the 60s.
So I was in Ann Arbor in those 4 years.
I'm sure that was a happening place too.
You know, you thought it was the center of the universe.
That's where you were born? Is it raised? Or
No, born and raised in Detroit. So that came from Ann Arbor is just 40 minutes away.
A friend of mine just got a job teaching at this incredible self. So he also could hang out with him and then do his speaking.
You know, it just shows you.
So many board meetings per year. Do you have a board meeting every month or quarterly?
Quarterly, but then we have a Friday. Yeah. And then we're often on the phone. So it was a church. In Europe, all over the States. West Coast, East Coast. We try to have meetings that are about a day and a half long. 2 in Vermont, and 1 usually at our franchise meeting, which this year was in Puerto Rico, next year is in New Orleans. So we go some of us go for the franchise meeting, stay on for a board meeting, and then we have 1 a year in London. So we might skip that one in 2015. But London is the headquarters
I like that. So that the problem is I am told
he shows up sometimes when we're
so it is your call.
Absolutely. So when I'm leaving stuff, it's just,
Oh yeah, sure.
where they used to be British Dutch.
Put it somewhere where.
Now they're headquarters.
So Wall Street Journal is no, well, I mean, we go over.
so I'm going to have you just kind of come in here.
I'm taller than you. And
You are? I hadn't noticed.
It's even worse here. So, all right.
The second row.
Okay. Second. All right. Fine. This will work wonderful.
Yeah, I hope I don't have it too bad a shine for you.
Oh no, this is.
This is all right?
No, our shine has been removed long ago.
Can you hold your stuff for me?
I could put it there.
Okay, perfect. Is your phone authorized?
Yes.
Hello? Come on up. You need a hand? Or you? Right there. It's my pleasure.
She's just going to step in here. Oh, just making sure. So where do you step aside? I think you're off there.
You know, the whole business is being.
Jeff Furman, Ben and Jerry.
Oh, Ben and Jerry's. Yours is.
Oh, good.
You want to come stand? I just okay, sorry. Here we can move forward a little bit. We can fill in some spaces here.
Hello, am I right? How are you, sir?
We are
Hi.
taking it back.
Jeff Furman, Ben and Jerry's.
How you doing, Dave?
Pleasure.
Love your ice cream.
I wish I had some here, but they wouldn't let me bring one in.
Nothing like the cherry Garcia.
That's my favorite.
Sir, can I have you just kind of step back?
Yeah, you told me to step forward.
Little.
Right?
Well, there's still a little
No, I know, I know.
dance. Still a little dance, yeah.
If Paul tells you to
They did warm me up. Oh, yeah.
Just have you stand next to Miss Natsui.
On the ground. knows that it's not worth it or that it's not lost cause?
I just want to make sure you didn't disappear.
So you need your cell phone down during votes in case something weird happens and all of a sudden
That's better work.
We have just begun.
it happened once.
Oh, that's good. Oh, wait, it's going to be much more. Like at the same 30 seconds.
Just run. Just run. A lot of members coming in.
That was fair. We were on the
We're all going to fall off this ride insurance.
So, yeah. And,
You're coming. This is great.
Hey, Jimmy. How are you? You guys have all introduced yourselves to one another. All the merrier. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, teacher.
Mischief. I'm Congressman George Miller, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're here because we are moving forward with our effort to support millions of hardworking Americans in raising the minimum wage. Large bipartisan majority. Woo! Large bipartisan majorities have repeatedly voted to raise the minimum wage when it has come to the floor in the past. In 2007, the increase passed with 233 Democrats and 82 Republicans. In 1996, it was 193 Democrats and 160 Republicans. Republicans and Democratic presidents alike have signed the minimum wage increases into the law. And this time around, the nationwide clamor to raise the wage is louder than ever. Cities and states are passing increases in the minimum wage. Right now, there's 195 co-sponsors of H.R. 1010, the Fair Minimum Wage Act. These representatives are clearly listening to the vast majority of Americans who want to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour. Even conservative commentators like Bill O'Reilly and companies like the Gap and Costco have backed the increase in the minimum wage. It's time for the House majority. It's time for the House majority to recognize this bipartisan support and bring H.R. 1010 up for a vote. And when this comes to the floor, it will pass. We just need a vote. Now I'd like to turn the floor over to Representative Tim Bishop, a member of the Education and Workforce Committee and a longtime champion of increases in the minimum wage on behalf of workers. Tim?
Thank you very much, and I thank so many of my colleagues for being here today to show their support for this issue. This morning, I filed the discharge petition that... Assuming we get 218 votes, will allow H.R. 1010 to come to the floor for a vote. And that's all we're asking for. We're asking for the opportunity to vote on a piece of legislation that 71% of the American people support. 71%. And when I left the chamber a few minutes ago, there was a long line of members signing the discharge petition. Now, I regret to observe that in that line, were only Democrats. I'm very much hopeful that as we go over the next several days that we will begin to see our Republican colleagues sign this discharge petition. And I just want to say this. In his very first speech after being sworn in as Speaker, Speaker Boehner said January 5th, 2011, he said, this is the people's house. He said, it's their Congress. It's about them, not us. And what they want is a government that is responsive to their needs.
Give us a vote.
Give us a vote. 71% of the American people. Let's respond. Thank you.
That's all right. Thank you for that introduction. That was wonderful. I am... Do I introduce Cooper? No, I don't think I introduced... Oh, yeah, I do. I am pleased to be here with all of these members. More importantly, I'm pleased to be here with some folks who, as my staff said, are real people, not members of Congress, who are going to talk about what this means to them. The minimum wage in 1968 in 2013 dollars was $10.57. It replaced 56% of the average wage. Today, it replaces 34% of the average wage. So it has been reduced by over 40%. That's not right. $14,500. You cannot live in America with any kind of quality. You're living in poverty. That is not right in the richest country on the face of the earth. And very frankly, there are not 71% of the American people who are Democrats, nor independents, nor Republicans. That 71% is made up of Democrats, Republicans, independents, people who know the American dream can be realized when you work hard and get paid a wage on which you can live. Let's pass this bill. Put it on the floor. Let's have a vote. It will pass. It ought to be the law. We ought to pay our people the kind of wages that America expects. And now I want to yield to my good friend, and as I said, good friend, I've known him for now about 3.5 minutes. We get friendly here very quickly. John Cooper, who's going to tell you a little bit about his perspective from that 71%. Ladies and gentlemen, John Cooper.
Good afternoon. I'm the president of Spectronics Corporation, a family-owned business on Long Island that's the world's leading manufacturer of ultraviolet equipment and fluorescent materials. I'm also a member of Business for a Fair Minimum Wage. Fair wages are part... Thank you. Fair wages are part of the formula for success at my company, and raising the minimum wage will help America succeed as well. Consumer spending drives about 70% of our economy, and wages drive consumer spending. The single biggest problem faced by small businesses today is weak consumer demand. Increasing the minimum wage is a great way to spur economic growth. It will allow workers to buy essentials they cannot afford now, and most of the money they spend will go right back into local businesses. That's also good for our tax base. A higher minimum wage will also result in lower employee turnover, which means lower costs for hiring and training new workers. In addition, higher wages bring increased productivity. Employers who invest in their workplace and workforce have employees who are more invested in the company and in satisfying its customers. At my company, nearly 71% of our 150 employees have been with us for over 10 years. In fact, we have several employees who've worked for Spectronics for more than 4 decades. Compare that to low-paying chains with continual turnover. Companies that pay their workers poverty wages at or near $7.25 are in effect being subsidized by taxpayers, since those employees are far more likely to turn to government assistance programs to get by. That's simply not fair. If the minimum wage had been automatically adjusted for inflation since the 1960s, businesses would be paying $10.74 today. My father founded our company in 1955, and he'd certainly agree it's not right that minimum wage workers are paid less today than they were a half century ago. Raising the minimum wage is a long overdue investment in our nation's economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. Steny, want to come back to the mic? No, I'm fine. Okay. I'm Jim Clyburn from the 6th Congressional District of South Carolina. Democrats, as you have heard, are here willing to work on behalf of working men and women. We are sponsoring this discharge petition, thanks to Tim Bishop, because we believe that working men and women are deserving of a raise. Now, we heard earlier this month, after they finished their retreat, the Republican leadership seems to have decided that we're done work for the year and that their members are free to go home and campaign for re-election. Unfortunately, the people who sent us here to represent them cannot sit idly by and wait on the next election in order to get a just return on their hard work and investments. The American people are deserving of much better from their Congress, and the Republican leadership should stop playing Tea Party politics with the future of these men and women. My colleagues and I are going to sign this discharge petition, and we invite our Republican colleagues to join us in bringing this issue to the floor, because this 71% are deserving of a vote on their issue. It is time for us to give America a raise. And with that, I've known her for a little more than 3 minutes. I'm pleased to introduce a real good friend, and I don't mean that gratuitously. She is a great friend of mine and a great friend to working men and women, Rosa DeLauro.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Clyburn. Thanks to all. I'm delighted to be here with my colleagues, proud to stand with them, and our guests and the real people and all of you here today in support of a fair minimum wage. This Congress needs to move now to increase the minimum wage. Wages have stagnated for far too long. It is a very tough economy, and many families are struggling just to get by. Between 1989 and 2010, 62.5%, there was a 62.5% increase in productivity in the United States, yet there was only a 12% increase in wages. 2 out of 3 workers making the minimum wage are women, and it is past time to give them a raise. All right. The current low wage is not just bad for workers and families, but it is bad for business and for the entire economy. And a vast majority of Americans agree, including small business owners. According to the Small Business Majority, over 2/3 of small business owners support increasing the minimum wage and adjusting it annually to reflect the cost of living. And you heard from John. They understand that raising that minimum wage increases consumer demand. And it is about demand. That is the problem today. And that means more demand for their products and their services. 85% of small business surveyed already pay more than the minimum. Low wages and low social mobility are not a crisis because some are rich and many are not. They are a crisis because the compact has been broken that allowed hard work to pay off and future generations to do better. And to talk about what a rise in the minimum wage will mean for her business, I now want to turn things over to Carmen Ortiz Larson, CEO of the Bethesda information technology company, Aquas. Carmen, thank you for being here. Thank you for my colleagues for signing the petition.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm proud to be here with you, speaking to you today at the Gabe Zimmerman Room. My name is Carmen Ortiz Larson. I'm a small business owner. I own a company called Aquas Incorporated, which is an engineering and technology firm that employs over 50 people, of which about 40% are women. I'm a Latina. I'm a Hispanic business owner, and I have been in business over 30 years. I provide technical assistance to emerging small businesses because of my association with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Montgomery County. When we allow businesses to pay poverty wages to its staff, we promote an environment where children are not well cared for, nutrition is deficient, and decent housing alternatives are difficult to obtain. We increase the need for social programs. My business found this to be true. We found a while back that lower paid staff tended to miss work more often, have a higher frequency of health issues, sought second jobs to make ends meet, and quit their jobs more readily. Because of this, my business began increasing lower-end wages a few years ago, so that today the lowest paid person, which is an intern, is making $10 an hour. Thank you. As a result, absenteeism is lower, my staff is reliable, staff retention rates are great, and staff morale is good. My customers are happier, they get better service, and I spend less time and money replacing and retaining staff, which is great for my bottom line. In short, my company is better because of this change. As a business owner, I don't want to pay more than I need to pay, and I want my margins to be high. But at the same time, the dollars that I save in one area of the business could cost more in other areas. I depend on the reliability and quality of my staff, and our customers buy our product and services because we are innovative and customer-focused, and my staff helps me get there. Profitability depends on many factors, and only one of them is lower wages. As elected officials, we look to you to set boundaries that cut across many special interest areas and ensure a balance between commerce and individual sustainability. The current minimum wage simply does not make sense. Adjusted for inflation, the $7.25 an hour minimum wage is the same as it was in 1950, which was before I was born. It hasn't kept up with cost of living increases. We need to remember that lower-end wage earners are taxpayers and that they are voters, and keep our businesses working. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do so well. We can remember if you make that a law. We can remember this if you make that a law and pass this. This is why I support the federal minimum wage increase. Thank you very much.
On behalf of my colleagues behind me here and across the aisle here, I want to thank our special guest, John Cooper and Carmen Larson, Carmen Ortiz Larson, full name, even though she's been born since 1950, for their very exceptional presentations today. With their professionalism, with their success, they have told us very clearly what productivity means to the success of a business, with respect for the worker means to the business, what longevity means to the success, longevity of service means to a business. Carmen has also told us what not paying a decent wage means to a family. There are many other friends behind us, special guests, and we welcome all of you. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your stories with us in the course of time as well, and to all of you.
We have a large number of members of the House here. The only reason all the Democrats aren't here because the rest of them are standing in line signing the discharge petition. George Miller said how it's always been bipartisan. Steny said how urgent, our distinguished whip said how urgent it was to sign the bill, and we are ready. The time is now. Congressman Tim Bishop has given us the opportunity with his courage to go out there and put that discharge petition in, have it ripen, enable us to sign it. Thank you very much, Tim Bishop. Mr. Clyburn has been working on this issue. He's been focused on it for such a long time, and we thank and salute him for his leadership as well. And in case you didn't hear Rosa DeLauro tell us, because she tells us every day, at least one time a day, that over 60% of the people getting the minimum wage are women, and what the impact of this is on women. And when women succeed, America succeeds. So here we are. The stories of these businesses, the commitment of our members, the future of our workers depends on us to now raise the minimum wage. All we need is a vote. President Lincoln said public sentiment is everything. The sentiment is there. Over 70% of the American people, as Steny said, Democrats, Republicans, and independents all support this. Just think of this. Increases wages for nearly 25 million people. A raise for nearly 25 million people. Lifts over 1 million people out of poverty. Because empowers women, because again, more than 60% of people making it are women. More money in the pockets of consumers, more demand for our small businesses, more security, progress, and prosperity for the middle class. Not to have this vote is to abdicate our responsibility that we have to the middle class, the backbone of our democracy. Mr. Speaker, give us a vote. Thank you all very much. Vote. Because when women succeed, America succeeds. Thank you. George.